Hey guys, this is Joanna Robinson, and you are watching Stirring the Pot with the one, the only Don Kincaid.
If I'm not mistaken, there is a match with Dan Severn versus Jack Swagger.
Yes, that's right.
What the hell are they pulling over there? Holy cow.
good.
You're bringing in Dan frickin' Severn, man.
Yeah, we don't pull.
That's the beast, Dan
Fuck
Severn.
around, you know?
Holy
What can I say?
cow.
That's why I like Blitzkrieg. We don't fuck around.
Man, he's...
I feel like sometimes, like, if, like, you know, you mention names and people are like, who are they talking about? I'm like, well, everybody knows who Bret Hart is.
Yeah, Bret Hart.
Let's throw that name. No, and Jack Swagger and the Boogeyman.
It's like, it'll be a good time.
Oh, yes, it's going to be such a good time. I see a lot of people there that I really love and respect at those shows.
I've seen you've associated yourself with Test of Strength Wrestling on quite the regular basis, might I add. And you do both of those, well, you probably have more than two hats, but what I see is ring announcer and interview type person.
Yeah.
And what else do you do at Test of Strength, if you may?
It's mostly, that's like the one show that I kind of get to take a step back a little bit.
Okay.
For the school shows, I'm just really doing like either the interviews or the announcement, and then I don't, like, I might be backstage if somebody's like, hey, you got a pen, you know, with the mom bag, being like, hey, you got that. That's one of the times that I can kind of relax, because it's meant for the students to bust their asses.
Man, what a good time those training days
bust
are.
their asses, and it's really good for them. Like, I've paid my dues. I've done the flyering, and I've been out till there was one time I was flyering for a show with JJ Alexander, actually, and I had said to him, I was like, man, I'm not really feeling well, and he's like, you don't have to come film. I'm like, no, like the flyering needs to get done, and like, you don't have anybody tonight, and I'm free, and like, let's just do it. And the next night I ended up being in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
I had severe sepsis and I was dehydrated.
Wow.
So JJ's like, you have an excuse now. Like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Hopefully it wasn't from that. I'm like, nah, I think that, like, it didn't, like...
You're already pushing yourself.
I was already pushing I was like, I'm not feeling, like, I already knew something was wrong, but I was like, whatever. Like, I didn't think at the time. I'm like, whatever, it'll be fine. But then, like, after I got home, other things happened, and then I had to go to the hospital. And, so I like to think that, like, I've flyered and I've paid, and I still will help flyer. I'm going to go try and help flyer for Blitzkrieg this week. Nice. Too. Like, I love going out and helping, because it shows the dedication. It shows the dedication that you're there for them. Like, there have been times where a promoter will be like, guys, I need help flyering. I'm like, I'll help. And they're like, you live an hour away. I'm like, yeah, but I'll still come up and help. Well, don't you have to work in the morning? Yeah, but I'll still come up and help and do whatever I can. And they're like, we really appreciate that, but like, there are guys that are living 20 minutes away, Joanna. Like, you shouldn't have to come up and do that. And it's sad sometimes to hear that.
I feel you.
But like, I'll always jump out and help and Test the Strength. Even though I'll help if they ask. It's one of the few shows that I'm like, I'm gonna get dressed and I'm gonna make sure everybody's good, and I'm just gonna chill back a little bit.
So you've seen the evolution of new time to PvP, UVT to Blitzkrieg,
now there's
and Test of Strength, from just in-house school shows, training days, to road shows. So
during the road shows, if I'm there, I'll help out a little more backstage too.
3 different companies, 3 different eras.
Also, PvP branched out into Western Mass Wrestling.
Correct. And you're a part of Western Mass?
I'm taking, that's another one that I'm taking a little break from. I will be there for their next show, the 25th. I will be there for that on the 25th.
I will be going for the first time to Western Mass.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
I'll be checking it out.
Good stuff coming on that.
There is. I got some great names coming in.
Some great names coming in.
The longevity of a wrestling career is hard to sustain when you're an athlete.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine it being any easier being a personality either, because People can come and go at any time. People can be replaced all the time, all depending on who you are.
I was told one time that I could be replaced.
I'm not feeling it.
They were like, "Oh, we can replace you."
And
I went, "Okay, then."
But my point being is, how do you keep a longevity by even seeing the evolution of 3 different companies in 3 different times, basically, and you're still doing it kind of for all 3 companies, no?
Kind of, yeah. Like I said, PvP in Western Mass, I took a step back from there was just so much going on. There was so much going on in my personal life that I'm hoping to get back into it. So much is going on personally. It's a mental health issue that as much as I love the wrestling stuff and it does help with the mental stuff, sometimes it is also a hindrance, and I just have to take a step back.
Absolutely.
And it's nothing against anybody at those things at all. It's more of a personal thing. I love them, and
it's a you thing.
It's a me thing.
Yeah.
I do want to come back, and I know that there are people there that would love to see me come back. It's never been a thing of we don't want you here, which is something that I've always appreciated. It's a me. I have to take a step back. It's just a life thing. I still love those guys. I still support them. I'll be at the Western Mass show. Hopefully, I'll be able to start coming back to some PvP shows.
Cool.
But it is really interesting to see the evolution too. It definitely takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of people.
It's unbelievable how many it does take.
And you need, you need to just be kind of dedicated from the first moment somebody says, "I want to do this." All right, I'm in.
Right.
And then you can say it, but you have to show it too. Show that you're just as dedicated. And the fact that all these people have not only said, "Yeah, I'm dedicated," but have continued to show, shows what a great company those are. And I think that that's what's important, is if you don't have people that are dedicated to the company's not going to make it.
And it's just like a relationship, because, without the effort and the compromises and the fighting and the hugging and the kissing,
there's
and
always
the
going to be
camaraderie.
fighting and all that stuff. It's just inevitable. It's a matter of, can we work this out?
Right.
If not, what do we do? And then it's being the bigger person of, if you have to take a step back. There are some people that leave and just trash talk the shit.
I've seen it from a distance.
I have been there personally,
I see it from a distance.
In front of it.
Yeah.
And it is what is wrong with you? Why? You can't just leave. And I'm somebody that's I'm Switzerland, I'm always neutral, or I'm always okay, let's look at this from both sides.
Gotcha.
Hang on. But, but even still, there are times when I'm all right, I've seen both sides. You're an asshole. And you're not somebody I want to be associated with, and I take the high road, and I just will either not associate, and I won't talk to them, and I'm just
Gotcha.
That's your thing. I'm still going to go, and thankfully I've been with a good group of people where if I do go talk to someone that they are not talking to, they're all right, that's fine, that's your business. And I try not to bring other people's business in.
That's cool.
It can't always be said for some people. If just because I'm friends with someone doesn't, that they don't like.
Right.
Sometimes they'll take that low ground and they'll say or do something about me, and I'm really? Okay, you're just not somebody I want to associate with.
The drama and the politics are still very fluent.
It is, yeah. And I feel like you're going to have that with anything.
Yeah.
This is theater, wrestling, music,
right.
photography.
It's all life.
Work. It is. And you just have to learn how to work around it, work through it. And it's so easy to say that. But there have been times where I've gone home from wrestling shows and I'm I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Exactly.
It's so much.
pardon me.
Much. Oh, that's fine.
Excuse me.
That's okay. And it's getting late.
Well,
to be fair.
No, I mean, it is. The sun
I know, right?
is taking a different direction. Yeah.
You couldn't tell. It's only 6 o'clock.
I could go on and on and on. When I did check, we were well over an hour.
I know. Oh yeah. I'll keep talking.
This could turn into a 2+ hour Jimmy Mees kind of thing, because I did talk to him.
Yeah, except I have more to say than Jimmy Mees, right? Was it Mark Haggerty that was what's he gonna talk about? I'm friends with this person. I'm friends with that person.
Oh my goodness.
I love you, Jimmy Mees. I do. I love you, Jimmy Mees. I've known him since the start. He's been one of those guys that has had my back. Him and JJ Alexander are the 2 guys that have always had my back since the start. Anytime anyone has ever said anything about me, they are the first 2 to be back up.
I actually had a bunch of media that was erased from my memory card as I was copying stuff, and it got corrupted. And I found that I didn't lose 3 interviews, but I ended up losing 2 because I found one yesterday. But out of the 2, they are the 2 men that you just mentioned.
Really?
JJ
Yay!
and Jimmy Mees.
That makes me feel better.
Well, kind of, yes. They're still lost.
Oh.
So I have to recreate those.
Oh no, you have to go talk to them again.
Yes.
How terrible.
Yeah, see, that's
terrible.
me and Jimmy, we created this, and I thought it was beautiful.
No, if it was good,
2 hours
I'm joking around.
Of course he's joking.
If it was good, then that's great.
It was beautiful with Jimmy Mees. I did not expect any of that. I expected loud, breaking faces, breaking legs.
That's just his normal
Jimmy
face.
Mees.
That's just his normal face.
You know, but no.
No, he's not. No.
Very informative.
He is.
Very, and I tried to talk full circle about his career, and I thought we did quite a good job, and I don't know how to recreate that. So we're going to have to give that a shot.
I think once you guys sit down again,
we'll do that. And then I have to speak to Mr. JJ.
Yes. I love listening to him talk about wrestling.
Well, you know what's funny about his? I've never had story time on Stirring the Pot, so we kind of called it Stirring
That's what he said, is it was a lot of... Because I asked him, I was like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I'm dying to know.
We called it Stirring the Story Pot or some crap like that. I don't know. It was kind of weird because it could have been story time.
It was the fun house.
Yeah, it could have been story time, but it was Stirring the Pot. It was... but I had to pull him back because he could have went on and on and on and on for story time, you know?
JJ, like... I love JJ to death. I know that he can get... The thing that I have found about JJ is, and I love him, is that when he gets mad at something, it's a legitimate reason. Mm-hmm. There's not like, I'm just mad to get mad. Like, it's a legitimate reason for him to be mad at someone or something. Yeah. Like, because a lot of times he'll be like, what do you think about this? I'm like, well, that's fucking stupid. And he's like, thank you, that's what I said, but everyone else is saying that it's fine. And I'm like, what? And, you know, I know that there's always a little bit of drama, but there's always going to be drama.
Always.
But like, again, if JJ's mad or involved in some drama, it's like, it's a legitimate reason. And I love him. And again, he and Jimmy Mees are 2 people that I've known since I started, and they've always had my back.
That's awesome.
They've always been able to see that, like, I'm not just there for the men. They're like, no, like, we can talk to her about wrestling, and she gets it, and we have fun. She's a good person. We have fun with her.
That's cool.
And it's hard. And again, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit of, like, it's hard to be a girl in this business,
right?
Because you don't know what they're really there for.
Yeah.
Are they just there to to get some kind of career? Are they there to, you know, start dating everybody? And it's hard sometimes. When I first showed up, people thought that I was just there to be a rat. Yeah.
And they didn't expect you to be a worker.
Yeah. I had to work really hard to be like, I'm not here for if I met a wrestler that I was interested in, then that's private and that's our thing. But it was never like, I'm here to everybody. I've dated outside of wrestling.
Have you ever dated within the industry? Because it might be a little difficult to maintain.
I have tried to date a few guys. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really like to talk about it because it's like I like to think that my dating is like my personal.
It's a privacy thing.
It's a privacy
thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I've tried to date some of the guys. We've gotten along really well, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I've also, since getting into the wrestling, I have dated outside of wrestling. Like when I went back to college, I was dating somebody for a while, but like I didn't tell anybody because I didn't think it was anybody's business.
Right.
And like, unless somebody was like, oh, well, clearly you're just here for all that. I'm like, no.
I don't think so.
Really, I mean, a lot of these guys, like, again, they first see a girl, and not all of them. Some of them, they're like, hey, it's a girl in wrestling. What you doing?
Right.
Like, not you.
Yeah.
And usually you shut them down quick enough, and they're like, okay. Sure enough. And I know that actually a lot of the guys have said that. They're like, we need you to find somebody. We need you to find somebody.
Aww.
And I'm like,
your brothers are looking out for you.
They are, and that's why I love them. But at the same time, I'm like, I know I could never bring a boyfriend around because they'd be like, oh, so.
Eat them up alive.
You dating Joanna, huh? What's that? How you doing? Yeah? You taking her out? You paying for everything? You treating her good? Because when I was with my ex and we broke up, he's very lucky that he is still alive.
Oh.
Yeah. He's very lucky that he's still alive.
I can see that.
I was still new. I was with NEFW.
Okay.
And like So the fact that from that early on to now, the guys are like, we got your back.
That's
like,
cool.
If he treats you bad, we're going to kill him. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Sure.
So I see you draw.
I do. I actually, I've been drawing since I can remember. I actually, when I went back to school, I got a degree in graphic arts, design and illustration.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like to do the more hand-drawn stuff than the
Yeah.
computers. I have the degree in doing the computer stuff, but like you give me a pad and paper, and that's where I'm gonna really shine, I think.
What's with the whole superhero stuff?
I love
You've got this
superheroes.
passion for superhero stuff.
I've always loved superheroes. I'm trying to remember how it first started. I remember watching like the Superman and the Batman movies with my dad, and Ghostbusters and all those old stuff. It was always like a me and my dad kind of thing. And he had mentioned that apparently we were related to Linda Carter. It was like through marriage, like
Wow.
a cousin's cousin was married to her or something like that. And I think it's still true. I don't know. We've tried to debunk. He claims it's true. We've tried to debunk it and be like whether this is true or not. But it definitely like kind of sparked a little passion of like, well, I'm kind of interested. And then during the 90s, those Saturday morning cartoons of like SpiderMan and the X-Men. And that was where I kind of fell in love and I started reading comics.
Oh, okay.
And I just kind of started getting more and more into it. I took a break and was really into Japanese manga and anime, which I still am. I still am into it has incorporated itself in my drawing style, so that's why I still am like, yeah, I'll watch it. And then when I started working at Toys R Us, one of my assistant managers was into comics, and this was also around the time that Iron Man had come out.
The movie, the first one.
The very first Iron Man
when he's
movie.
in that big, gigantic...
Yep. And so he and I just started... We were kind of talking about comics and what to read and what not to read. And, God, that was like 10 years ago. Holy moly. And just started really I had always been... I had really liked the X-Men. I had liked Cap even back then. I was reading a lot of Spider-Man, X-Men, some Cap, a little bit, I was kind of all over the place with, just whatever you could give me, I was just devouring it. And then the movies were coming out and it suddenly became this huge thing, but I was still already buying the comics and still, I can't tell you, what was it? I want to say it was when Civil War came out, I was like, yeah, I already have this comic. I've read it a dozen times, and it just, I think that because the movies have gotten so big, that the culture has gotten so big.
It's expanded a lot.
I mean, I remember going to San Diego Comic-Con years ago, before it was this huge mainstream thing. And it was amazing seeing so many comic books and so many people that were not ashamed of, because, I mean, this, at the time, it was like, you like comics, that's you like superheroes, what are you, 5? And going to a place like this where there were thousands of people that were so into it, I was like, I am home.
Yeah.
And I was able to go at least 2 more times, but by then it had gotten really mainstream.
Right.
It was really, and it was like it was a financial commitment.
It is. It's no joke.
And I'm very sad. And even though it is a financial commitment, I still get really sad when it comes around. Because I'm like, man, I miss going, and I remember sitting in the 7th row, and there's Steven Spielberg and Guillermo del Toro talking about whatever movie that they're about to do. And I remember seeing Jon Favreau. He was promoting Cowboys and Indians. And you see all these big celebrities that now, well, at the time, they were minuscule celebrities, and now they're huge celebrities. Right. And I just was so happy to be it's okay to be a nerd. And I just kept going with the comics. And
that's cool.
About 2 years ago, a friend of mine had told me about a website that was looking for comic reviewers. And I got in touch with the editor, and we hit it off really well. I wrote a few articles for him, and he's like, I'd really love you to join.
No kidding.
And I now will occasionally write It's on Comics Ground, plug on Comics Ground. It has changed names a few times, but on Comics Ground, I have bounced back and forth between who like I will initially write comic reviews for. Right now, I'm doing Captain Marvel because she's so big right now, and I'm all about like the big female empowerment. Also, I was doing Jane Foster Thor, which if you have seen my Facebook, I just wrote an article about how fanboys need to chill out as she's getting her own movie. And I was doing Spider-Gwen, or now Ghost Spider, I guess. But like, I love talking about comics. It's so, I've always felt like, and I kind of want to write an article about this, I've mentioned it a few times, that I've always felt that comics and wrestling are really related. Like you noticed a lot of
over-the-top characters.
Well, you've got over-the-top characters, you've got over-the-top storylines, you've got, sometimes the good guy doesn't always win.
That's true.
You know, you have these larger-than-life characters.
Unbelievable.
And a lot of wrestlers, actually, they're huge comic fans.
Yeah.
I mean, Finn Balor, who everybody knows I love, he has said that he used to, Finn, if you're watching, call me. And, you know, he's said that he used to be really big into comics, and his character, the Demon, was really inspired by it. CM Punk was really big into comics. I mean, Alexa Bliss has come out as a few different comic book characters with their outfits. Last night at SummerSlam, Ricochet was Nightwing.
Yeah.
Which
you must have popped.
I did. I popped. So thank God I was with JJ Alexander when we were watching, and because I'm like, what is he wearing? I couldn't tell at first what he was wearing. I was like, is he like Iron Man or something? Like, because I just saw the blue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is that? And then like they really showed it, and I'm like, oh my God, he's Nightwing. That's so cool.
Now I popped kind of pretty much for the same thing, but then I'm looking at him like, how in the F is he wrestling in that?
We said that too. We were like, how is he
what
doing
the
that?
Hell?
But like, I love reading comics, and I love talking about comics, and I like talking about comic movies too, because I've always been like sorry, bug. As I'm looking at my cap cup, comic movies are so hard to do. So I always give credit to them, because you have to find that fine line of like, okay, well, here we have to make this movie for the people that have read the comics, who know what's about to happen, and who are very critical, and they want to have the stuff that they want, the stuff from the comic in there. And then you have to have the people that have never read the comics, have no idea what's going on, who don't know who these characters are.
I know most of the characters, but I don't read them.
Only here for the movie, and you have to find that mix for them. And there have been some movies that have failed, and there have been some that like have done really well.
Okay, let me throw a few out at you then.
Okay.
Because I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen a bunch of them.
I will say though that if you've like DC and Marvel, they will put out like direct to DVD cartoon movies.
Yes, I never watched those.
The DC ones are phenomenal.
I see by fans that they're amazing.
Phenomenal. Like, I can't tell you how many of the where they'll be like, oh, we're doing it after this comic. I'm like, I have this comic. I can't wait to see it. But like, then you watch the Marvel cartoons and you're like, eep. But then you go to the theater, and the Marvel movies are so fantastic.
Dude, they're like in your face.
So
it's
fantastic.
Big.
And then you go to a DC movie and you're like, that exact reaction.
And that's what we're going to do, right?
That exact reaction. And it's so amazing to me. So you have, it's like, why can't you guys find your happy medium?
Yeah, and that's what we're going to do right now.
Okay, let's do it.
So out of the reboots of all the Spider-Mans, we had like 1, 2, 3 different characters right now. We're up to Tom Holland.
Yes, we are up to Tom Holland.
Which one's your favorite?
Oh, wow. I liked the Andrew Garfield ones, but I also really liked... I'm a big Gwen Stacy fan, obviously from Spider-Gwen.
You can't like them all, Joanna.
I know.
You have to pick a favorite. It's out of 3.
I have to say I do like the Tom Holland ones.
Okay.
I do like, because he's a good because
he's a kid.
He's a kid.
Yeah.
And also because he actually does a lot of those own tricks and stuff.
Okay.
Yes, he was trained. I want to say I think he was like a Broadway performer or something, Billy Elliot. So he knows how to do all the, like, there's a video of his, when he was testing for Spider-Man to be in Civil War. It's him and Chris Evans. It was a reading to see how he looked with them. And the video is his entrance is he literally does like a flip onto the screen. He's like, "Hi, I'm Spider." You know, he says a lot, and you just see Chris Evans being like, "What the? Hire this child." And like that's why I like him is he gets it, and like and the other thing is that he's a good Peter Parker.
Yeah, he is.
And that's the part that people forget when they do the casting.
I love the whole school part of it.
Yes.
And then not that they didn't do with Andrew, but he's taller, he looks older.
Yeah.
The Tobey Maguire thing, it was cool. It was cool. Okay. So I'm not here to be critics about the movies, but hey, the Hulk movies, yay or nay? It doesn't matter. Take yay or nay.
Oh no.
Okay. Nah, we're going DC.
I like the Mark Ruffalo Hulk.
I like the character, but we're talking the movies though.
Oh, the movie.
That's a big difference. Okay.
I've never walked out. Like, if I go to a movie and I have to go to the bathroom, I will sit the whole time.
Okay.
There's the only movie that I've ever been like, I can't. Like,
How about
I have to get up, and it was the Eric Bana Hulk movie. I actually got up to go to the bathroom. Was like, I don't care if I miss anything.
That was a tough one. How about the latest Batman, Superman was it? Where it was...
Batman versus Superman?
Yeah, where it was... help me out. Who played Batman, please?
Oh, it was Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck, yes. How did you like that latest rendition of Batman?
I didn't really mind that rendition, him being Batman. I think, but the problem is everybody... I think by that point, everybody was like, Christian Bale.
Yeah. Me too.
It was really hard to see anybody else do it.
But I mean, Michael Keaton was awesome back in the day.
Michael Keaton was the OG.
I know. Yeah.
OG. I was just having this discussion. I said Michael Keaton was the OG. It was with somebody else.
Okay.
I liked Val Kilmer.
I did too.
I actually almost saw him at Terrificon, and
But when you think back, you're like, that was the first one I watched. Man, Michael Keaton kicked ass in that one.
Was,
you know, and you had Jack Nicholson. You know,
Jack Nicholson was such a great Joker, though.
All right, let's.
I didn't mind his portrayal of Batman because he played it as an older Batman, which was nice to see.
Yeah.
It wasn't that new, like I'm just getting, because we'd seen so many times
over and
over
and over and over.
And here it is, he's already establised that he's Batman.
I think that's what kind of kicks my ass about these movies when they reboot them.
Yeah.
Is they always start, Bruce Wayne, he's walking down the alley.
Like we know.
The parents get shot, but it's always done differently. And it just kind of, they do that a lot.
I like that they did like the little bit of like, but it was more because of the PTSD of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, it's really important that like, this is where he came from, but like, they didn't shove it in your face like the other ones.
How about the other stuff like Ant-Man and
really
the stuff that kind of comes out around
Ant-Man.
there?
I thought that was cute. I know that everybody was kind of like, Paul Rudd is Ant-Man. And like Ant-Man in the comics he's okay. But he's such a pivotal part for like all the Avengers movies, for all the Avengers comics.
For all
that,
it to come together.
Had to, like, I understand why they had to make a movie of it. I liked how they did it. Is Ant-Man my favorite in the comics? Not really. But I like what they did with it. I thought it was really funny, and they did try to keep to the comic, not stereotype, but they did try to keep the comic-y essence of it.
So I see Green Lantern and Cap. What's going on? Two faves, or what's happening there?
Green Lantern and Captain America are my two big faves.
You can't have two faves, so pick one.
Oh no, I can't do that because they're.
You can't have to. You can't have two faves.
Yes, I can. Because
I guess her tattoo says she can.
Here's my thing though is, I love Green Lantern. When I was at Toys R Us, he was the one that I really, really bonded with because I loved. The story. To be a Green Lantern, you have to overcome great fear. And one of my biggest fears was going back to college. And I told myself when I finally decided that I wanted to go, I said, when I graduate, I'm getting a Green Lantern tattoo because I have just overcome such a great fear to me. And also the story at the time, the Green Lantern storyline was being written by Jeff Johns, who is a fantastic writer. He basically totally reinvented Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. And he was actually, I think he was a producer on the movie, which it makes me so sad that people hate that movie. It makes me sad because I liked Ryan Reynolds.
I thought it was fun, but I can see where people are coming from on different
The thing that I
opinions.
didn't like about that movie was what they did with... wow, I cannot believe I just had a blank. The villain.
Don't even ask
villain.
me.
Oh my God, I know.
I am not good with that stuff.
Oh my god!
You're a comic book freak and you're flipping out right now.
Holy shit.
Oh man, your peers are gonna laugh and point at you right now. Oh my goodness. They're gonna be Joanna. Oh my god, we saw that interview and what in the hell did you just do?
Oh my god. The villain.
Don't
I
ask
had
me.
no, I won't.
I am
Let's
not the
just
guy.
say this: the villain I had issues with because that's not who he was in the comic, and I felt like had they kept to the comic story and not changed it, the movie would have been.
So they made up their own villain, basically?
Well, they
Is that
kind
what
of
was kind of going on?
They changed. It was the yellow energy turned one of the Guardians into a villain, and that's not what it.
I got you.
That's not what it was in the comics.
I got you.
Even though the Guardians were like pains in the ass, they were still like the good guys.
I jump around a lot.
No, it's fine. I like jumping around.
I'm
too.
surprised I haven't jumped around way more. I've been staying on topics. It's
I know, right?
very out of
Yeah.
character of me.
And then Cap, I always liked because he stood up to bullies, and he was always very.
He was my size when he
You
started.
Stand your ground. I was bullied a lot when I was younger. I was another PTSD thing is I was bullied a lot, and I just didn't have the strength to stand up for it. And here was this little guy who became a big guy and stood up to his enemies, and he always stood. He never faltered as far as where his beliefs were, and there's that line of like, you know, when they tell you to move, don't move, stand your ground. And I've always really appreciated that as someone who, because sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I agree. But he was always like, no, agree. If you say that this is, agree with it. If you see, and I, you know, again, as someone who was bullied, like, I don't stand up to bullies anymore. I refuse to. And so that's why Cap and Green Lantern are really, also, I'm not going to lie, I've always had a huge crush on Chris Evans. So that helped a lot. Sorry.
Was there? Oh, I thought.
No, I'm just stretching my legs.
I don't know.
Sorry.
She looked under the table and talked Chris Evans. I was like,
I thought I had a moment where I was like, am I
man.
kicking somebody?
Am I missing Cap
No,
under there?
no.
What's going down?
Hey, no, he's right here.
Wow.
But I've always had a bit, like, I liked him in the Fantastic Four movies, which was kind of when Marvel started. Even though I didn't think that they were bad movies.
No, but they kind of did their own
were-
floppers
yeah,
right
they did
there.
their own
Both of them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, so.
And then whatever came out after that, I don't know what the hell
yeah, I know.
that was.
Then they tried to do
The
another
kid
one.
died. I don't know what
Another
it was.
one, which I never saw. That
I haven't either.
I try to see all of them just to be like, all right, I've seen them all, but I.
Yeah, but you look at the trailer of that, you're like, nah, I'm good.
No. But like, back to Ant-Man though, like I understand why they did the movie. I liked it for what it was.
That's cool.
For what, you know, because you had to have the end game coming.
You're obviously watch plenty of superhero stuff. You are in the wrestling industry. Do you watch the product at all?
What do you mean?
Any product, WWE, ROH, New Japan.
I do. I watch WWE. It's actually like it's one of those things that like it's a mental health thing where like getting to watch Raw and SmackDown at the end of the night, even if they are shitty episodes. No offense, Vince, but sometimes. You know, it's like something to look forward to at the end of the day. Like that's my sit down. Like after a long day, like that's my. Ooh, that was a fast squirrel. I hope the camera caught that little dude. He like flew. I just caught out of the corner of my eye. I'm sorry. Like it's it's one of those things at the end of the night that I can sit and relax and just watch and just zone out.
Right.
I do like watching. I watch a little bit of NXT, only because a lot of times people that I know, like that have gone up. Are in there. So
amazing how
them.
many faces we know that are in there.
So like I'll watch it for that. I used to watch when I had first learned about Finn Balor. I was watching a lot of the
New Japan.
The New Japan.
Prince Devitt.
Prince Devitt.
I call him Devitt. I like to say that it's almost like a French kind of.
Devitt. I haven't watched any of AEW. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched any of that. I do watch a little ROH from time to time because I get like TK Orion and Vinny Marcel. I love.
Amazing.
TK is another one that I remember seeing start from the very very beginning, and now he's where he is.
Yeah, himself, Vinny, Matt Taven's champion.
Yeah.
I mean, holy cow, man! Those
He's
three.
somebody that I can say that I remember from the beginning. We do still chat a little bit. I actually, one of my college projects, I used him as a model for one of my art projects. which I got an A on. And
Nice.
actually, I did a whole set of like mythology pieces, and I used a couple of the guys. I used TK. I used Justin Tunis, Sexy Jesus. I used Brad Hollister, Big Bacon. I used Johnny Idol. I used Hot Scoop Skyler. I used JJ Alexander. And then I ran out of time, so I couldn't use anybody else. But I had done like this whole piece, and I used, because to me, wrestling, started kind of in Greece, like the Pantheon,
the Greco-Roman,
and the Roman, and like it was. They were these larger than life characters, and I always kind of thought that would be kind of a cool thing, is to incorporate Greek myth. I also really enjoy Greek mythology, and I'm so smart. I'm not just a face. Like, I really love Greek mythology, and when they would talk about the wrestling, sometimes I would think of my friends, and I'm like, I think this would be really great. So I had a couple of them pose for me, and
that's cool.
And then I drew them up in these huge, larger than life pieces. And I got an A, thankfully. They were also displayed at the college for a little while in like one of the art galleries, and then my teacher got it so that they could be displayed at an actual the West Hartford Art League.
Oh, wow.
For a little while.
That's pretty cool.
And I was like, I know that this doesn't mean a lot to you guys, but this is so fucking cool to me. Yeah. I'm like, and they're like, all right, cool, we're a part of it. I'm like, ah. So TK was Poseidon, which I always thought was really funny that I had picked him, because Poseidon, TK is the wild horse. And when I was picking people, I kind of knew who I wanted as who, but like I also did a lot of research so that I knew what to put in the pictures that correlated with them. And Poseidon actually created horses.
Oh, wow.
He was trying to gain somebody's attention, because all the gods did that at the time. They was trying to gain somebody's attention, and she was not really having it. The goddess that he was trying to impress she's like, I'll tell you what, you make something that is so astounding and so amazing, and yeah, I'll hop into bed with you, thinking that she had got him. And so he spent all his time trying to come up with something that he totally forgot about banging this goddess, that he was just trying to, and he came up with horses.
Wow, wild sassy horse.
And I was like, that's pretty funny. The Poseidon, the wild horse, the TK. I always thought that was really funny.
That is pretty funny.
But yeah, so there's a little side story.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's the kind of stuff we like to hear.
It is good stuff. It's funny too. I love that set of drawings too.
We were speaking of watching guys come up. You must have seen, because I've seen some of the names through PvP and Blitzkrieg. And, other companies that are around our area, Chaotic especially up there,
I'd love to see a Chaotic show.
Chaotic
and beyond.
I've been to one Chaotic. It's a little far for me, so I don't go to them as like I would want to, but I've only been to one. But you see the names that come out of there and stuff like that. It's got to be very pleasing to see. We'll just use TK again for an example. I was remembering seeing TK in PvP, but then I'm going to the NEW shows, and I see he's becoming part of this new kingdom. But they're keeping it all hush-hush. And Matt David's in the back with a crutch. Oh, no. Getting his guys ready in NEW.
Right.
And I see TK come out for the very first time, and he's got the purple kingdom shirt on, and he throws it down on the steps, and I take a picture of it, and my dad goes to me, the hell did you just take a picture of that for?
Because it's going to be important someday.
I go, you have no idea, father.
It's going to be important someday.
And now we see where TK is now. He's amazing. He's always been really a really cool guy to talk to, and he'll take the time to take a picture. Vinny as well. Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong, Vinny and stuff like that. Always love those guys to pieces, man. I'm so glad to see where they are right now. Yeah. Look at Warbeard Hansen.
It's cool to see it. Like, I know that we've said it before, but it is really cool to see these guys.
It is.
A story I have is, I don't know if you know the team of Insanely Rude.
I do.
I remember, and I even told this to him, little AJ. I remember AJ when he was not a wrestler. He was just a little kid. Mm-hmm. And he was so passionate about wrestling. And then he started training, and now he is where he is. And I said to him, he had been on a WWE event. What was the W? I think it was a SmackDown. It was right before WrestleMania, I think.
He ended up working very hard that weekend.
Yeah,
he was a review, then a Raw, and then a SmackDown.
And I remember
all of them, different parts.
Him, and I said the next time I was like, dude, I cannot even begin to tell you how proud I am of you, because I remember when you were just this little kid. And we would go to the airport sometimes and like find the wrestlers to get autographs. And you would say like, I'm going to be one of these guys. I'm going to be one of these guys. And now here you are.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. And, I remember watching WrestleMania and seeing Smart Mark, Sterling, and Vinny on my TV.
Yep.
And I was with my friends and I couldn't have cared less. I was like, oh my God, I know him. It's Mark and Vinny. Like, that's so great. Like, I was so happy to see them. And
see, that's the stuff I like.
Anytime I see any of the people that I know on that, I'm like, I am so happy. I'm a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie. Because like, who doesn't want to be?
Yeah.
But I'm more so like so excited for them to see them, for them, because to remember a time when they were like, I'm gonna do that. And then to really see it. Yeah. Like, I'm so happy for them, and I'm so proud of them.
Does it piss you off as much as it pisses me off when they take a guy like Tommy End that you've known for, I don't know, over a decade on the scene easily, and then they take his name and they make it Aleister Black? What the hell did you just do to me?
I'm a horrible person because I totally forgot when they, like, that was him. I forgot that was him. And like, there have been times when I'm like, I've worked with that guy, but that wasn't the name he had.
No.
Wait a second. And like, it's so like EC3. I remember working with him a few times at Blitzkrieg shows, and it was so. This again, he's another one that you see the evolution of, and like I had completely forgotten that it was Aleister Black.
Yeah. But see, that's what I'm saying.
But it's cool. But it's not that he was so nice though. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
He's a really nice guy. He was so talented. Like so many nice things, and I'm so glad he is where he is today. But like he's somebody that I will say like I don't quite remember.
Right.
I'll be like I remember working with him, but that's about it.
But he wasn't fluent in said company though, because he was very all over the place.
Like I'm not like, and I'm again.
Right,
like, I'm so happy he is where I'm so happy he is where he is today. But he's someone that I won't be. That I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I totally knew him and blah 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 blah. Like I worked with him maybe once or twice, and he was very nice and cordial in the times that we met, and that's what I'm going to say about it.
I think basically it's more of the name changing that really pisses me off.
Yeah, sometimes you have to.
Look at he was in Evolve Wrestling. Oni Lorcan. What in the hell kind of name is Oni Lorcan?
Really?
How about his original name, Biff Busic, was quite acceptable.
I liked that name.
Yeah.
Biff. I always like the name Biff just because it's Back to the Future.
Well, yeah. But come on.
So anytime I hear Biff, I'm like, yeah, I root for you.
Those things really tick me off.
I feel like sometimes you have to. Though.
Well, with WWE, they have to separate that personification.
Even in the indies, though, sometimes like you have to change your character, like because you can start off as somebody.
No, I definitely see that.
Like
yeah.
I've seen it happen where somebody will start out and they'll do the character and it's just not working, and you have to reinvent yourself. And sometimes it works, and sometimes you have to keep looking. I have been very thankful that I've always just been me.
I'm Joanna Robinson. It's all good.
People have actually been like, like, why don't you have like, what's your stage name?
You're right.
Like, it's just Joanna. It's just me. Like, this is me. This is me. And like, I have like I'm like, oh man, if I ever get theme music, that'd be cool. But like, I'm happy to just be me, and it has thankfully always kind of worked. But like, there are some people that like you can't be you. You have to find an alternative.
Oh, that's for sure.
And like sometimes I get it when the WWE does it because it's a marketing thing. But sometimes you're like, from someone who knew that person beforehand, you're like,
right. And I think that's what really hits me, is because we've seen his name so many times. We've maybe seen X guy or X girl come in and out of X company that we're familiar with, or we work in, or have gone to as fans, and then all of a sudden, it's like they up and give them like some weird different identity or something, But I mean, I
wish I could go see more shows, honestly, but like because of this being basically a teacher, I've had to kind of like cut out. Like Sunday through Thursday, I'm in bed by like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Friday, Saturday, that's when I can go out and stuff. And even then I have to be really limited on what I do because I'm trying to catch up, because I have health problems as well as the mental problems.
Right.
So I have to be very careful. But like, I would love to go see more shows.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a Limitless show when they're not
In Maine?
When they're not with Blitzkrieg.
It's like over a 5-hour drive for me.
I've driven. One of my best friends lives up in New Hampshire. Those long drives mean nothing to me. I'll sit in the car and it's not a matter of the drive. It's just a matter of like, I just need the time. I need the time.
I got you.
And like, you know, you go to the drives are not a problem for me. The drive homes though, like driving home at 4 a.m.
Yes.
If I have to.
Brutal.
Those are the times that I'm like, man, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, because I've done that where like you drive home at 4 a.m. and you're like, oh my God.
Yep.
I just want to get home. I'm going to get maybe 2 hours of sleep and then I got to go to work.
Oh.
And like sometimes it's worth it, but as you know, like I know that I had touched on my mental issues. I have physical ailments too. That like I like I'm anemic. I have endometriosis. I get headaches from the slightest things. You know, so sometimes like I need that sleep.
No wonder why she cringes every time I raise my voice. I turn on a Don Kincaid and it's like...
No, it's okay. Actually, my brother gets loud when he gets excited, so I'm just kind of used to it. I'm just used to it. It's fine. But like, you know, and that's another reason why I had to step... I know I had mentioned before, like I have to step back. Like it's a mental, sometimes it's a physical. And like I would love to go see Limitless. And I know that I have the invite from some of the guys up there, which is so heartwarming. But like it's a physical... It's a physical thing sometimes, but it's so good to see them doing so well.
The scene is so amazing right now and so flourishing, and probably more so now than ever in our history of wrestling, I have to say, probably. It's great for the industry.
It is great for the industry.
It's great for all of the smaller companies that have our home base guys and girls where they can make it to the bigger company.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I've heard... WWE is not where I want to be. I'm good on the indie scene.
Yeah, I remember Jinder Mahal. He was doing really big with the what was it? It was him, Drew McIntyre, and
3MB.
3MB. I remember that. And then he left and he went back to the indies. And I got a chance to meet him a few times, and he was very sweet. And, you know, he was very nice. He was a really hard worker, and you could see that he was really, and you know, to see how he went back to the indies, found himself, and now what he's doing in WWE, like sometimes you have to just kind of go back to where you're.
Drew McIntyre is a very perfect example. Yeah.
Drew is the epitome of going from like sugar baby to sugar daddy.
Man.
Oh my God. I remember when I was actually at the Raw taping when he came back.
Okay.
I was in the crowd, and it was during April. It was the April, oh God, it was like a year or two ago. I remember I had gotten tickets for that Raw because they were doing the switch up.
Okay.
And I was, ooh, that was bugs, sorry.
Whoa.
That is my one kryptonite, I'm sorry. Bugs are like my one kryptonite. Now that I've said that though, people are going to be throwing bugs at me every 5 seconds. I don't mind getting bit by kids, but bugs, no way. And I had gotten floor seats, because I hadn't gone to a live show in a while, and Finn was going to be there, and like I had a friend with me, and I had spent all this time making this big Finn poster, and like I remember sitting there, and all of a sudden he jumped into the ring, and the crowd was so quiet, and I remember in like a span of 10 seconds, I'm like, holy fuck, that's Drew McIntyre! And everybody around me was like, what? And then it panned, and you're like, it is Drew McIntyre, and you're like, that is so cool.
Just because if you didn't see him from when he left until when he came back in his evolution.
It's such a weird crowd now, and as far as the fans go, like they boo like the weirdest things, and like they cheer the weirdest things.
They absolutely
and
do.
You're like, you guys have clearly not been watching for like as long.
And again, if you don't follow the indie scene, you don't have to watch all indie shows. No. You don't have to watch this. But if you just touch upon a couple, and when he was in Evolve, and he was a champion.
Oh yeah.
I seen him go against Roderick Strong, and Roderick Strong was going to be making a transition from ROH to WWE, and he was on his last tour on the indie scene, and it was in a cage match. son of a bitch, if Roderick Strong didn't beat Drew McIntyre to a bloody pulp and made him like basically like not answer a 10 count, all hung up in this rickety ass cage, might I say. The most dangerous cage I've ever seen.
Like,
rickety.
That rickety.
It was so ghetto. I don't know who the hell put that thing up.
Dude, cages are hard to put up.
But this was horrible.
Cages are hard to put up at indie shows.
This was bad.
Man, let me tell you.
And that was one of the matches that really stood out. And I'm like, oh my God, Drew McIntyre is going to be an absolute monster if he ever comes back off the indie scene to go back to WWE.
I remember seeing, again, when I was watching New Japan, he was fighting Finn. And I was like, wow, like, it's so good to see him, like, you know, like, really evolving outside of WWE.
So good, man. Such a beast right now.
Yeah, he is. I've met him, too. And he is a beast.
His thigh is like the size of this freaking table, man.
Oh, yeah. Just the thigh.
I said the thigh.
I know.
It's a family.
I was going with thighs
okay.
as well.
All right. I mean, I know we swear, but it's still a family show.
Well, yeah, I am. You know why? It's because I work with kids, so I'm not allowed to swear. So on the off seasons, I just want to cuss. I just want to cuss like crazy. Although they say that cussing a lot is like a sign of
a lack of vocabulary and intelligence.
That's not true.
Well, I mean,
no, not a lack of intelligence.
For me personally, I think it's both. I don't know.
A relatively high vocabulary.
That's cool.
When I want to.
That's cool.
Sometimes I'll pop out some word and everyone's like, where did that come from? I was like, I am intelligent. I am cultured.
Up here.
I am cultured. Like I said, I like Greek mythology. I mean, clearly I read other than comics.
We've touched upon more topics than I have ever talked to anybody about on any of these Stirring the Pots.
That's great.
And I guess I emphasize any like 4 times.
And I'll talk about all of them too. That's what's so great.
What I like to maybe try to do when I end up, because I don't want to, because if I pull everything out of Joanna, we can never have a number. Wait, not a number 2. We don't like a number 2. We like a sequel. So maybe down the road we would like a sequel, because if we pull everything out now, then how would I ever have a sequel?
What are we going to talk about
exactly
next time?
Hey, there'll be plenty to talk about. There will be. Because it's not going to be like next week or tomorrow.
No, you got to have like just enough time in between that things have happened.
Yeah, you have to let it simmer.
When you're stirring the pot,
you gotta let it simmer. You gotta let it simmer.
Simmer down now.
Yeah,
you gotta simmer down now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So what I like, before I do like to close out, is there anything, if there's anything you would like to speak of, and this is how I got a fantastic message from Ataxia though.
That's true.
Because you never know what you're gonna get, because there's stuff I could ask you whatever I ask you, but there might be questions that I have, like I've never asked her what her favorite match or her favorite. We found out, I'm almost positive, 1,000% that Finn Balor is her favorite wrestler. So I mean, there's still more things to touch upon, but we've talked about work life, we've talked about the industry, we've talked about all sorts of stuff in this.
There's a nice range.
Beautiful.
Nice culmination of
wide array of conversation, if you will.
See, there's that smart.
There's
that smart talk.
Without saying the F word. If there's.
Well, have I dropped the F word?
Maybe.
I feel like I have.
There's a few times.
I feel like I have. Sorry.
Is there anything that we haven't spoke of that you would like to put out to either the fans? Because, you know, Mr. Joanna Robinson has some fans out there. Your peers.
It surprises me.
Hey, don't be surprised.
Don't be surprised. I think it's because I try to stay humble.
You know.
I like to stay humble, so like it surprises
Is there anything that you would like to speak of that we haven't touched upon? Or like I said to Ataxia, a message that you'd like to send out to either the fans, your peers, maybe one of the children that will be watching at 5 years old. You never know. Their parents might play this for their child. You never know. Even though we've said the F word a few times.
Sorry, kids.
Yeah.
Hopefully none of my kids will see.
You never know, because this isn't FCC regulated. I mean, so we try to be free.
Yeah, right. And that's what's important.
Uninhibited. Whoa,
Don. We talked about that.
Whoa, that's why we're here.
We
not
talked
over there.
about that. All right?
That's why we're here. Not over
about
there.
that. You know, I don't want to talk now that I. Now that I have to free reign.
I know, but we have spoken. So many times.
There's been a lot. I mean, it's if you want to get into wrestling, like gotta work your ass off, man. Does not come easily. You gotta respect everybody, work your ass off, go to shows. I wish I could go to, like, I'm just so busy. But if you're a wrestler and you've got a weekend off, like, go to a show. Just go.
Uncle Bob always says, go to a show, bring your gear just in case.
Oh, yes.
But ask, how can I help?
Oh, yes.
Is always like such a great
I can't tell. Again, that's another great, thing is like how many times I've seen guys that are not booked on shows, but they'll come on time, they'll help set up, and it's like, you know what? You got gear on you? This is how we're going to thank you. Or, you know what? Somebody had dropped out and we need somebody. You got your gear on you? And, like, always stay humble, too. Like, I said that I try and stay humble. Like, if somebody says, like, oh, your art is so great, I'm like, I guess, thanks. Like, or, like, the fact that I have fans.
You've got fans?
What?
Yeah.
What? No. But I like to think that I put in the work for it. Like I try to be nice to everybody, unless you're being a legit asshole. Then I'm gonna be like, okay,
gotcha.
That's nice. Which happens very rarely, honestly. Like there's very few people that I've been like, you're a dick. I don't want to talk to you. And I'll be like, you know what, I'm going to go that way. I got things to do. I'm going that way. Which 9 out of 10 is true. I usually have something to do. I know that the mental health thing is really, I had said earlier that I'm a really big advocate. As someone who has it, talk to somebody, man. Or come find... what I like to do is I like to find things... there was this meme that I'd seen about like, oh, I'm 31 and I'm so glad I have my kids. How do you manage? And they were like, well, Marvel keeps putting out movies, so there's that. And I really related to that because I'm like, well, if I'm feeling down or if I'm like, man, what am I doing? Or any of those little clouds start to creep in, I'm like, well, like I've got Monday Night Raw coming, I got SmackDown, I got Supernatural's coming back. Like I've got this movie, like the next Marvel movie's coming out. Like I gotta hang around to see all these things. You find they may seem silly when you say them. Like, I gotta go to this wrestling show, man. I gotta go see this person. Like, it's the little things that you have to keep going, and then being able to find the people that you can sit and talk to. I
used 2 words way back at the beginning of this coping mechanism. I think that's what it really becomes.
Yeah, it is like a coping mechanism where you're like, I just need to find something. And, for some people it's wrestling. Like I've had times where my anxiety and depression is like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to the wrestling, but I have to. And I end up having such a great time. And it really does become like a coping mechanism of like, well, and it's more of like, I don't want to go because the anxiety and the depression.
Right.
But because I am a workhorse and I've already committed to this, I'm going to go. But then you go and you have such a great time and you're like, why did I not want to come? Like, this is what I needed. This is really what I needed.
When you think about going to said event and you're like, oh, son of a bitch, I don't know, blah, blah, blah.
Like, I don't want to see this person.
It's this, it's that. And, you go through these scenarios or whatever. And then, like you said, you get there and then you're halfway through or intermission comes, you're like, son of a bitch, I'm having a fantastic time.
Yeah, exactly. Son of a bitch, I forgot why I was mad.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like, and definitely, like, don't ever feel like you can't talk to somebody. But that being said, like, know the right people to talk to. Because there are going to be those people that are like, I don't know what to do for you. And they don't always mean it as like, dude, I don't know what to do for you. You do. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, they just truly don't know.
They just truly don't know.
Yeah.
So it's good findings. Or like I do, like, if I can't talk to someone, I have a therapist. I love my therapist. I love my therapist. She is so great. And the strides that I have come since I started seeing her, they blow both of our minds sometimes, like where I used to be. And I really think that I would not be here if I didn't start going to see a therapist and we didn't start figuring out medications and self-care stuff. There have been times where I genuinely didn't want to be here. I genuinely that wrestling wasn't going to help, school wasn't going to help, family wasn't going to help, friends weren't going to help. And it's a really deep, dark place. But having that one person to talk to can really make a lot of difference. And some people get it and some don't. And it's okay if you don't get it. Just be there. I really feel like as long as you're just there.
It's a great message.
It is a really great message. And be understanding too, even if you don't know what to do. Because there have been times where, you know, like as much as I have no problem going up to somebody and being like, what's wrong? What's the matter? What can I do for you? I'm also empathic, so sometimes I just feel the energy. Like I can't tell you how many times at school people would be tired and exhausted, and like I would feel their energy sitting next to them, and I'd be like, "Are you okay? Are you alright?" And they're like, "You're the first person that's asked me that like all day." And I'm like, "Well, what's wrong? What's the matter? What can just tell me." Like for all the times that I will go to someone, sometimes I don't like going to other people, like, and so having somebody to talk to is really helpful.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. And you know, wrestling can be very high stress, because there's always going to be that one person that's got to cause trouble, whether they mean to or not, and you either ignore it. One of my cousins, she had said that she had been interested in getting into wrestling when she turned 16, 18, whatever the age is to start training. And I said, listen, honey, I think I support you. I think that's great. But you better have a thick skin. Because I learned the really hard way that you better have a really thick skin. But you also need to really be open-minded. And you need to appreciate everyone and everything in this business. From the fans to just setting up the lights.
Yeah. I hear
making sure the batteries in the microphone.
Gaining all the aspects of the industry is good to know, because then you get an appreciation for what X person is doing or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just checking that.
Do it.
Real
That's
quick.
Fine. Check it. Check me all of a sudden. Wow, it's 7 o'clock. We've been talking? Fuck. Wow. Did you have somewhere to be? I would really hate for you to...
No, I think I just dropped another F-bomb. We have been talking for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Is that's longer than Jimmy Mees?
Man, she's trying to
Did we get longer than J Brown? Did we get longer than J Brown?
Jimmy Mees was longer than J Brown. So
because J Brown's interview was pretty long.
Yeah,
too.
you are the longest ever. Right now, that's not what I was going for. But man, did we touch?
Not gonna lie, kind of like being the longest.
Hey man,
longest, biggest.
I've been called the shortest, and stuff. Never mind.
They're not true. I'm gonna come out and say it now.
I can't breathe now.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna vouch for Don. Be like, no. You see a lot of, you know what? You see a lot of things backstage.
Yeah.
You see a lot of things backstage. Sometimes you don't mean to look, and sometimes. But anyway, still, as long as you're very respectful about it.
This was.
Which I always am.
What a great effing ending. This was Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid. We were just talking nude guys in the back with one Joanna Robinson. My very special guest.
All guys.
My very special guest,
guys.
Joanna Robinson.
Don.
Thank you so much for your time.
This was a pleasure.
The longest.
Was so much fun.
Yeah. The longest Stirring the Pot ever so far. Because it was such a great day.
Oh, it was.
It was talking to a friend, hanging out.
It was.
We were talking all sorts of, we were talking work, for crying out loud.
It was a whole bunch of stuff.
So I want to thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And I'm an hour and 15 minutes late to something. I don't know what it was.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I am so kidding.
Oh my God, I would be so, I would feel so bad.
I would feel
so genuinely bad.
Oh, goodness.
Oh my God.
I could hold your hand all night long and just let the camera run and see what it catches when the sun goes down. But we won't do that. And especially being across from our home.
Yeah, no.
So again, I thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. This was fun.
You were very open, very candor.
I feel like you have to, sometimes, in an interview like this, you have to be open.
And a lot of people aren't, and a lot of, some people just kind of throw a little gimmick out and throw a little this. You were very informative. Your messages were fantastic. And I really thank you. Again, I probably said thank you 18 times.
I appreciate it. I love thank yous. a lot of times I'll do anything for a thank you. Well, I'm not everything, but anything. But
Well,
like,
hey,
I'm
thank you.
somebody that I really appreciate thank yous because that shows me that. But like a genuine thank you. 'Cause
Yeah,
I've had people be
absolutely.
like thanks. But like genuine thank yous are what's gonna make me come back because it lets me know that you saw the hard work and you saw.
Yeah, absolutely.
You saw me. You
We
saw
love Joanna
me.
Robinson.
Aw, I love you, Don
So
Kincaid.
we had a
I
fantastic,
love you,
yes, we
Don.
have a fantastic interview.
Yes.
We had a fantastic ending. I don't want it to go because I'm still holding her effing hand. She grabbed my
Not
hand
many
again.
guys get to hold my hand. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
mean, I'm looking around just to make sure that I'm the only one here.
I don't know. That squirrel was looking at you pretty shifty.
I don't know, but he ran like a bat out of hell.
That was looking at you pretty shifty.
Well, thank you so much, Joanna.
Thank you,
It was
John.
it was an
fun.
absolute pleasure.
Well, maybe in a little while we'll do.
We have to do-
We'll do a sequel.
Duh.
We'll do 2. This was Avengers. This was the Infinity Gauntlet. We'll do an Endgame.